Hello and welcome to June's Nature's Rhythms update, where we take a look at where we are in the wheel of the year and also what energy is available to us right now, or certainly more available, because this kind of energy is available all year round, and depending on where we are in our lives, whether we're creating certain projects or changing habits, creating new ones, this particular energy is really abundant now at this time of year, where we're coming up to the last part of spring. Energy still spiraling upwards and outwards, and this is the moment to take the leap. So if you're in a project where you're just about to get it out there into the world, or you're deciding, I'm ready to leave this job, or I'm moving home now, and you're just about to make that decision, we're really at this point in the year where it's palpable around us. Everything's growing and growing and growing. We're coming up to the solstice and we're about to reach the top of the hill, and then we begin our very slow descent down towards the darkest day. So today I'd love to work with an exercise that is really helpful at that moment when you're about to take the leap and then something just steps in, that doubt, that fear, not quite being able to be vulnerable enough to really step into it. My name's Leanne Campbell. I'm a life and wellbeing coach, and I specialise in somatic practices, because it's the somatic practices that really help us to get beneath the layers and create a sustainable change in a really enjoyable way. I'm also co-creator of a Handpicked Life, which is our membership platform, and we will be closing for the summer. The doors are open right now, but we're closing for the summer because we've got a jam-packed timetable ready. We're starting with a happiness experiment, so if you'd like to join us for that, then see the link below. So this time where we're about to make that leap, and to give you a few examples, you're just about to leave the job and then suddenly your boss gives you a pay rise and you've got yourself all set up. You know it's the best thing for you. You're not happy in this place. You're not really using your gifts, and then suddenly you get a pay rise. You're just about to leave that relationship and suddenly they come home with flowers and want to take you out to dinner. There's just something that is going to trip you up, or you're just about to get that project out in the world and those fears creep in. What will my friends think? What will my parents say? What if I fail? All those familiar stages that we all experience in different ways. And that's the moment where that part of you says, wait a minute, we did this yesterday, we survived, why are we going to do anything new? Let's just stay with this. And that part of you isn't interested in thriving. It doesn't care if you're happy. It cares that you wake up tomorrow and you're alive. And that's a great system when your life's in danger. But generally, our default setting should be one of curiosity, expansion, allowing ourselves to really thrive in our lives. So before we go any further, I'd really like to introduce some journal prompts. And what we like to work with is a notebook and a journal. And your notebook is the place that you just tell it how it is. It's a place where you can explore, you can dive into your fears, what you don't want, the things that you're doing that you feel are holding you back. It's a place to be honest and explore. And then your journal is a place where you only write exactly what you are wanting to create or that you have created. Because when you write in your journal, you always do it in the present tense, in positive language. So that's the piece of writing that you will read back again and again and again. And every time you do, you feel uplifted. It's an affirmation. Okay, so I'd like you to take your notebook now and just do a brain drain. Set your clock for 5 minutes or 10 minutes and just write anything that you feel is holding you back. It may be right now, if you're in a completely different stage of the wheel, that you go back to a time where you felt yourself drawing back. So really get to know what kind of voice crops up at that time, what kind of fears begin to hold you back, or doubts, or that old voice that you just take for granted, that you believe it's always telling the truth. Get it down on the page and explore a little so you can then face those fears as we do a somatic practice. So just pause the video now, take some time to write, and then come back for the exercise. Okay, so this is a very simple exercise, and right here, just above the eyebrows, if you move across your forehead, you can just feel where the forehead bumps a little bit. And if you put your fingertips there, you can start to eventually feel a pulse. Okay, and it's quite difficult to feel your own pulse sometimes. Often when you're holding someone else's head, it's really palpable. You can really start to feel that even pulse come back, because what you're doing is when you hold your fingers here, you're drawing your blood back to your forebrain. Because when we go under stress, we can lose up to 80% of the blood. And what happens is the blood goes to our reptilian brain in order for us to go back and check out the things we know, to keep doing the same things that helped us just survive. And the part of the brain that really wants you to be curious, try new things, will allow you to feel safe enough to do that, loses the blood because it goes to the limbs ready to run for your life or fight for your life. Okay, so that's in a nutshell. That's what we're doing, is when we place our fingers here, we're encouraging the blood to come to the brain. Now, there's a few ways you can do this. Before we start, I want you to get really comfortable. So you can lie down, get some pillows to prop up your elbows so there's no effort whatsoever. Because we will hold this for maybe 7 or 8 minutes. Now, you can either place your fingers, like I said, just on the forehead here. You can make a little ring with your thumb and pointer finger, place them on the temples, and then let the fingers just relax onto the head. Or the other way, you can put your hands across your head. These are your main neurovascular points here, and one hand on the back where we've got fear and panic neurovascular points. And that creates a nice polarity. So just lie down, get yourself comfortable, and decide which one feels good to you. And just take a few deep breaths. Close your eyes. And the beauty of this, they're called neurovascular because we're working with the vascular system as we draw the blood to the brain, and also the neuro pathways in the brain. So we're allowing things to reprogram. And the beauty of this exercise is you're not thinking positive. You're not trying to change anything. You allow all those doubts and fears that you've just written down, you just allow them back into your mind, noticing that feeling in the body. And you just pay attention as you hold your head. And breathe deeply. And what we're doing as we hold the thought without trying to change anything, and just give it the attention that often these doubts and fears are really calling for. And at the same time, we're drawing the blood to the brain. What you're saying to your body is, this situation isn't traumatic. I can feel safe, even though I have these doubts and fears, even though right now I've been offered that rise, and actually what I really want to do is leave, and it's made me frightened to do that. So just being completely honest, breathe. And what happens over time, and often this can literally be 2 or 3 minutes. It depends how bad your stress is, and it also depends on how much of a habit you've got into of not having the blood very much in the forebrain, of living on automatic pilot and having most of the time the blood in the limbs. So it depends how quickly you get into fight or flight and how often. But for everybody, if you're holding this for a good 20 minutes, will give you that real sense of ease and safety in the body. So what you're doing is you're reprogramming. So what I like about this is you can stay in your misery. We're not trying to change anything. We're not fighting against anything. If you've had a really bad day and you just lie down and think about your day, but you hold your head, you're doing something to actually change. So you get to the point that when you think about whatever it is that upsets you, you find that you're more in the habit of not going back into stress, of not getting so upset. So the more you hold it, what you'll find is it's actually quite hard to stay with the fear, to stay with the problem, because it seems to fade away. Because as the blood comes back to the forebrain, your body says, this isn't a trauma, it's not a stress. It's a lovely thing to do to help somebody else. If you've got your partner or your child that's had an experience that's really upset them, if you just hold their head and let them talk about it, what you notice is they'll stop talking about it after a while. They can't quite get it, and they'll get to the point maybe they'll just take a few deep breaths and it's just not a problem anymore. It's a really lovely thing to experiment with. And I encourage you, when you do this, put a lovely piece of music on, breathe, get comfortable. It's a lovely way to help you to drift off to sleep if your thoughts are roaming. Just breathe, relax your jaw, open your throat. Let the tongue relax on the base of the mouth. Put a gentle smile on your face, but your thoughts still stay. And by now, you're probably noticing that when you do think about it, the reactions, it's not as charged. And you can stay here for as long as you feel comfortable. Take a few more deep breaths. And when you get to that place that you feel positive, just stay and build that feeling, build that habit in the body. Get into a habit of having the blood in the forebrain. It's a great thing to start the day with. When you wake up in the morning, before you jump into action and start life just like you did yesterday, just take a few minutes, just hold your head and breathe. Get to a place where you feel peaceful and spacious. So allowing that to build, if you're in that place now, let that feeling of peace, excitement for the change you're about to make, or the ease of being in that situation, or the thought of your parents or your friends seeing your project out in the world and feeling really in your center. Whatever it is now, let that build in your body. When you're ready, you can just release the hands if you want to. And you may want to take some time in your journal now to write down, I feel in this situation, or I am fully ready, and write down in present tense, in positive language. So when you read that back each day now, to see you through this little stage that's totally natural, and to keep your momentum, that when you read it, it really fills you with that excitement again. Hold your head every day. Get yourself into that habit, or as many times a week as you can. Get yourself into the habit. So the more you practice this, when you look at things that bother you in your life, but you've been holding your head as you think about them, what you'll notice is those things just don't seem to be there anymore. You certainly don't notice them. It's a lovely, simple way to reprogram your brain. So the other way this helps as well is often that voice that it does want to hold you back is saying something really valid. It may be that there's something that you haven't quite got in place. You're not quite ready, or really this is something that you've decided out of panic rather than something that's really going to enhance your life. And the beauty is, as you hold your head, you get clarity of thought. So you are able to assess those thoughts that have crept in, that have wanted you to just stay where you are, and to really see, is there anything valid in that? And to give you the courage and the enthusiasm to stay with what you have decided to do and to put those things in place. So it may be that you haven't quite got enough money yet, so just stay where you are, just get a little bit more and then go forward. And you'll know whether that's the voice of fear or that voice that is really guiding you in a way that's going to support you. Because when the blood's in the brain and you feel safe, you do have that access to be able to be really clear and know that you're on the right path. We've covered this in more detail in our New Moon Meet, and that's on the platform right now. So if you'd like to know more about us, to gain more understanding about the tools and techniques we use in order to create a framework to support a life that you can create that's rich and fulfilling, and also to step out and make a difference in the world, then please check out the link below. Come and join us. We're just about to come up to a time where we're closing the platform for the summer, because we like to take a deep dive into a happiness experiment to really boost our levels of joy, of curiosity, of widening our parameters of choice. And then we're going to continue through the summer with a containment. So we like to close during this time so we can really go on a journey together. So if you've enjoyed this video, then please like, subscribe, share, and leave us a comment. I'd love to know how you get on with this. Share your experience with us, and I hope to see you again soon.